It's time for another spring sports preview here on the Kenyon Sports Connection, and joining us today is the head coach of ladies softball, Erin O'Neill. And Coach, you're do this for one more year together?
I know. I'm going to be sad to see you go.
We're going to have fun this year, though.
Okay,
that's the plan.
Good.
All right, so last season, it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, especially once you got into NCAC play. How do you take on those challenges and build off them for a stronger year this year?
Well, I think the first thing that is important to note is that we had a first-year pitcher pitch, I don't know the exact statistic, but over 60% of our innings. And anytime you make that transition from a veteran like Maddie Stark to a first year, they're gonna go through some rocky times, but also have some great performances. And to watch how Austin matured over the course of last season and into this season, it's kind of to be expected that, that's going to happen a little bit. We also had some really unfortunate injuries, but that's part of the game. And so, you just have to, figure out what you're going to do when people get hurt. And the great thing that came from that is we had a lot of people get a lot of experience. And so that makes us even deeper this year.
So one of the bigger struggles was the bats really dried up during that tough spell there where you guys lost 10 in a row. How do you make sure that that doesn't happen this year and the offense can keep going, maybe not at like a torrid pace, but a consistent pace?
Sure. I think that you have to, first of all, I'll take some of the responsibility. We didn't do a lot of moving around of people. We kind of went with the same people in the 1 through 5 spot, and maybe we should have mixed that up a little bit. I also think that when you get in those situations where you start to struggle a little bit, even your best hitters start to put that pressure on themselves, and when you grip the bat a little bit tighter, you're not going to hit as well. And so, we've just really been trying to focus on a plan at the plate, regardless of who we're playing, changing speeds in practice, so we're not always hitting the same speed, and just trying to hit fast pitching, because we'll see some off speed, we'll see some different spins. So just trying to prepare them as best we can, and then, kind of learning again from some of the mistakes that we made last year.
So you mentioned now that a lot of your younger players got a ton of experience last year. How does that transfer into this year, and what kind of leadership are you looking for out of your sophomores and juniors? Yeah,
so it's pretty unique. We don't have any seniors on the team this year, and we have a really special junior class. We have 3 juniors, Amanda Coyle, Maddie Maldonado, and Nicole Harita, all who have played since they stepped on campus. And besides that, they really their personalities complement each other. And so they really combine to form that perfect leader, which is a huge benefit to our team. They also all went abroad in the fall, so we only had first years and sophomores on the squad in the fall, which forced our sophomores to really step up and be leaders. And I think they did a great job. Again, they've matured so much since last year. But the other benefit of that is I think once you've been in that leadership position, especially early on, like as a sophomore, you become easier to be led because you know how challenging it is. So I think, it's not going to be, we're not going to have that power struggle. I think all of our upperclassmen are going to work really hard to set a really great example for our first years, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they all can do together.
So you also mentioned injuries earlier, and Brittany Patterson and Amanda Ogata both got injured, didn't get to play in NCAC softball. How are you going to try to transition them back into the squad and getting them ready for that, and how are they going to help your team?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like we have, we have 5 first years. It's kind of like we have 7 first years. When Amanda Ogata went down, I think she was hitting something like 485. She was our 2 or 3 hitter. Brittany Patterson was same thing, was playing outfield and starting for us and hitting towards the top of the lineup. So it's going to be fun to have those 2, around. Hopefully, knock on wood. And so I'm really excited about that. They're going to play an integral role. Amanda will hit in our lineup every game, and Brittany, we've actually transitioned her a little bit to shortstop. One thing that I learned from last year is we're really making sure that everybody's capable of playing multiple positions so that we can seamlessly transition people from one place to another depending on, whatever it might be, comps one weekend or injury or, crazy things come up.
We don't like to use the comps word around.
Yeah, right. I just been on my seniors.
Yeah. So another thing you mentioned was your freshman class, and obviously everyone's always interested in the new faces on campus. What are you expecting out of them this year?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that you really couldn't ask for a nicer group of girls. They have just been a real pleasure to be around these, during the fall and then these first 4 weeks of practice. To the point where they say thank you at the end of practice. And I'm like, you're welcome, but it's still really nice to hear. They've worked really hard. They have meshed really well with our upperclassmen. But they've also sort of set the tone. They work really hard. They are very competitive, and they really want to be good. And so it's just been, it's been really fun to watch, and I'm just excited to see what they do on the field.
I guess if they're thanking you after practice, maybe a few more suicides or something, but don't tell them I said that. So you also mentioned Austin Whibley coming off now her first year pitching, and toward the end of the season, she really turned it on. How has she looked in the build up to the season?
I don't want to give away too many secrets, but she's looked pretty good. I think the transition going from high school to college as a pitcher, especially when you are given the workload that we gave her last year, it's a tough transition. And she had some really great performances early on in the year, but she also struggled a little bit. But then she hit her stride at the end of the year. And I think the way that she pitched in those last 2 games at DePauw, where we lost 1-0 and then won 4-2, that really set the tone coming into this year and really gave her a lot of confidence. She actually pitched better in the loss than she did in the 4-2 victory, but she still pitched really great in both of them. So she also she sprained her ankle in the preseason last year, and she's been pretty healthy this year. So we've really been able to, make sure she's getting great workouts. And we've got a first-year Keeley Sweet, who is also going to pitch for us, and the two of them really work well together. They just it's fun to be with them at pitching practice. So they push each other every day.
So then finally, looking forward into your season now, you start with 2 away trips, first going to Memphis, Tennessee, and then down to Florida for spring break. What are you looking for in those?
Yeah, just to really try some things out. I think I sometimes get set in my ways, and I, worry about the end result and not trying different things. And this year we're really going to test our limits and see what we can do on the base paths and see what we can do in some different offense and defensive situations, and really just push the boundaries and get some really good experience so that we're prepared for our conference play. So
then conference play starts when you guys come back, but you don't play a home conference game or a home game at all until April 5th when Denison comes to Gambier. How do you keep your team focused when you're constantly going to be going away from campus to play?
Yeah, I think every team's different, but it's actually interesting that a lot of times we play better on the road because you put everything away. Like you get on that bus and you're away from school and you're away from dorms and you don't have the pressure of friends watching or whatever. And so sometimes we're more successful, but we talk every day about controlling the controllables, and where we play isn't something that we can control. So we're just going to worry about making sure we're as prepared as possible and maintain a good positive attitude and have fun playing softball. And I think if we do that, we'll come out on top.
All right, well, thank you for coming down and talking to us.
You're welcome.
As your coach said, they have a long road swing ahead, but you can get all the updates from those games at athletics.kenyon.edu. And we'll be talking to some coach and some of the players before then, but April 5th, Denison will come to Gambier. So come on out and support the ladies. For Coach, I'm Matthew Ruskin. Thank you for joining us.